Hi, welcome to Wealthy Mindset. My name is Oliver. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope you're having a great day. In today's video, I'm going to cover Fisker Stock for April 20th trading day and the next couple of weeks. I'm going to analyze the graph to give you the lows and the highs, essentially price target predictions. Now, quick disclaimer before I begin. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not a professional. And everything I do share with you is just my opinion. It is not advice. So please do not buy or sell based off the information I give you or the opinions I do form. Please do your own due diligence and research before buying and selling. Just because, especially the graph, like what I'm going to show you, is just one half of in terms of researching for the buying or selling for stocks. This is not the all and be all, because for example, for all you know, like I cover the ups and downs usually for stock videos, but for all we know, tomorrow some great news could come out and the stock could just completely skyrocket to the upside, or some horrible news could come out and it could start tanking to the downside. Now we closed at $12.37 as of April 19th, 2021. And if you're a viewer of my channel, like regular viewer, you know that about this downward trend resistance line that dates back since March 2nd, 2021. Every time we go back up to it, just keep getting knocked down. We passed support levels, like pretty major ones, I would say. So we had $14.50 consolidate for pretty much almost 3 months, but yet we broke through it like nothing. We had support with multiple touch points at the $13.50 price point. Like had issues at these support levels to break through them, but we still broke through them unfortunately. And then the high $12 price point, which I was kind of hoping it would hold because it looked more promising than mid 13, but yet broke through it as well. Again, had issues, but still broke through it. Now relying on the low $12 price point, there's a good chance. So for example, right here, consolidated for quite a while. And there's a good chance and there's an off chance. I wouldn't necessarily, so if you're new, essentially just to show you what the game plan is essentially at one point, like even if you go back up to the upside, downside, whatever, etc., at one point break through the downward trend resistance line. Now the significance of that is once you break a downward trend resistance line, usually the run-up's at least pretty decent to the upside. At least you start reversing to the upside. And you don't want to necessarily enter before the downward trend resistance line crosses, except that there's two ways to approach it. If you enter before it does and you think that this is a good time to enter because it's stabilized, then you're technically entering at like the low, like you get a really good bargain because you called the bottom, right? The only problem is what could happen is it could consolidate, go to the upside. Like for example, right now it's at $12.37. Let's just say it drops to the next support level, which is at the low $12, which I'll elaborate more on in a couple seconds. Then it goes back up to the almost $13 price point, but then it gets knocked down by the downward trend resistance line and then goes back down. You thought you entered at a good price point and you're not too worried yet because it's consolidating at the low $12 and then it gets knocked down again by the downward trend resistance line and just continues to the downside. Now you're regretting your entry point. So that's the thing. So there's two ways you could play it. You could technically enter, like I stated, once you see it consolidates and you're like, okay, now I think it is the bottom and I'm confident it's going to break the downward trend resistance line. Hopefully it does, goes to the upside. Or you could wait until it actually breaks. And then if it breaks the downward trend resistance line, you're like, okay, now it's good. Now, what could happen though is you could miss your chance for the bottom hypothetically. Again, extremely risky because nobody knows for sure. And again, this is just all this is technically entertainment purposes. And it's just my opinion. It's not advice, definitely not advice. So if it goes to the downside, goes back up like I stated, and then goes past it instead of coming down. So let's just say it breaks through. If it breaks through and then it gets knocked down, consolidates, and continues to the upside, yeah, you missed the bottom, but at least you know the reversal happened, and there's a better chance that you're more confident about the reversal. Now, if you're playing this for the long term, technically a difference of 50 cents and stuff like that for the long term. I don't know how long you're holding for it because it all depends. It's all relative, right? If you're holding for like a month, I don't know, like that's technically not long term at all, but it's all retrospect to how long you want to hold. So it's all based on how confident you are on the support levels, how confident you are it's going to break the downward trend resistance line, and then even when it does break it, it's not necessarily going to fly. It could because it broke a downward trend resistance line, but it's not guaranteed because it could get knocked down by, for example, resistance levels, moving averages that could act as resistance levels as well. Now, we've broke through the high $12 price point, heading to the low $12 support level. And like in my last video I stated, the $12.13 would technically be around that range, would be like the bottom. The only thing is though, given how fast we're dropping, the unfortunate part is I think it would break through $12.13 and then rely on pretty much a clean $12 bounce. Hopefully, again, not guaranteed, nobody knows for sure, but or $12.01 and then go to the upside. But most likely, if it hits $12.01, it's probably just going to hit $12 anyway. But you might not be able to enter if you think that's what's going to happen, because usually if it does drop, it might be a quick one, but I could see it stabilizing at 12 as well. And the reason why there's a chance that it could stabilize at $12 price point, potentially, is it's starting to like trying to consolidate. So let me just go to, okay, so before I get to that, this is a 3-month chart, I believe. Yeah, 3-month chart. And this is the MACD line. So MACD line shows the moving average in terms of like direction, in terms of bullish and bearish. So right now it's bearish, it's in the negative right now, so it's not optimistic. And once it crosses over to positive, then the movement overall for the stock for the 3-month chart is optimistic and bullish, so it would be good. Right now it's still negative, but if you move to the 1-month chart, it's in the positive, just crossed over, so it's bullish and it's optimistic. Now, one thing I want to show, if you go to the 1-day chart, which was April 19th trading day, last trading day, then you have quite a while where it's pretty much stabilizing at the $12.30 price point. So is it going to stabilize? I don't think it's going to stabilize at $12.30. Hopefully it does. If it does, that's awesome, and then starts going to the upside and break through the downward trend resistance line. But I think it might indicate maybe that it will stabilize at the low $12, and even if it goes back up to like the high $12 or even breaks 13 at one point, like breaks it here and then gets knocked down, I guess that's probably fine, but it would repeat the upper cycles you could see right there. Hopefully if it comes back down, consolidates, it breaks through downward trend resistance line and then like breaks through finally there. And if you're thinking that's going to happen, when I measured it earlier, it shows April 23rd. Right now, for some reason, it's showing April 22nd. I don't know what's wrong with the chart, but that would be on April 23rd. Again, not guaranteed, because easily what could happen too, by the way. So this is another reason why you would want to wait, hypothetically, until it breaks the downward trend resistance line. It could, for example, let's just say it starts reversing to the upside from $12.30. It actually did stabilize, goes to $13, gets knocked down, goes back up again to $13, gets knocked back down, and then starts consolidating. So you're like, okay, you know what? It's not a big deal. I entered at the $12 price point. I think I'm good. And then when it consolidates, meets the downward trend resistance line on April 23rd and just starts, or end of 22nd, let's just say, April 22nd, end of the day, and then starts trickling down. And then your entry point was still not that great because you still did not break the downward trend resistance line and it's still keeping you down. So that's the only thing is, so be on the lookout for that potential scenario. Now, the question is, if it breaks the downward trend resistance line of the low $12, what's the next support level? The next support level ranges between $11.80 to $11.60, somewhere around there. So if you look horizontally, I didn't necessarily draw it, but if you look horizontally, it touches here, and there's a couple touch points right here at the $11.80 to $11.60. $11.60 is more bottom side right here. So after that, to be honest though, if it breaks that level, it could be in a potential, not free fall, but it would have to find a new stabilized point, which it could be some parts here and some parts here, but it's gonna start getting tricky where, I don't know, I would have to elaborate more in a future video, unfortunately. But hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully it finds stabilization between the high $11 price point or the low $12 price point. So there's that. And then hopefully it breaks the upside. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Hope you like it. Hopefully you found it helpful. If you did like it, consider dropping a like. It does help out the channel. Thank you so much for that. And if you have any questions, do not hesitate to ask. I'll try to answer them as soon as possible. And if you like this video or other stock videos or other financial videos that I will be posting, consider subscribing so you'll be notified when I do upload those videos. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.